to the Redskin. Go, Redskin.
What's good, people? You know, I wanted to come on today and make a video and talk a little bit about the Redskins up to this point, because we are heading into week 8, which is about the midpoint of the season for us, even though we had an early bye week. The team has come out doing exactly what I've been wanting them to do for years, which is run the ball first to set up the pass. And one thing that I have noticed, first we'll talk about offensively, but one thing I have noticed is that the offense is having issues, you know, establishing their identity as far as the passing game goes. And I think that's got a little bit to do with Alex Smith getting adjusted to Washington. And it also has something to do with injuries, as well as the offense getting adjusted to Alex Smith. Now, one thing that I do, I'm not going to say enjoy because I don't enjoy it, but one thing that I do like about Alex Smith is the fact that he doesn't commit turnovers. In my opinion, and I've been saying it for years, the #1 stat in terms of wins and losses for quarterbacks is combined turnovers. And any of the other stats you can harp all day long. I mean, when we had Kirk Cousins, he'd throw for hundreds of yards, and he didn't get many touchdowns, but he'd commit some turnovers, stupid turnovers, a lot of fumbles. You know, just stuff that's just inexcusable, stuff that would just kill drives. Cousins was also known for doing some dumb shit at the wrong time and was horrible inside the 20. I believe that Smith will just continue to get better in the system because he's a perfect fit in Gruden's system. Now, not having Paul Richardson, which we took a chance on bringing him in, paying him a good chunk of a change, you know. And he has, you know, shown that he could play. I'm just not certain yet he's exactly the piece they were looking for. It's like they were looking for a younger Djax, but he's definitely not that, or hasn't shown that yet. Although I have seen him make some good catches. Doctson appears to still be the most talented receiver on the team that hasn't had that breakout moment. You know, the Redskins have invested a lot in this guy, and I can tell you that the time is running out for him to start showing out. And it just kills me the thought of him going elsewhere and probably showing out for another team. But bringing Adrian Peterson in, which has been probably the saving move of the year offensively, has given the offense an identity that no one was expecting, which is a run-first team. So instead of trying to throw the ball all the time, now we're more run-based, you know, dynamic. And I don't know if it's completely the way that we should have it yet. They're still honing it in. I don't like the fact that we run the ball almost every first down. That kind of bothers me. And I really am bothered by the fact that Gruden just goes super conservative at the wrong moments. And it's almost like at the end of games, he's like, okay, well, let's just put it all on the defense. You know, last week against the Cowboys, there was no reason that we shouldn't have put that game away, you know, and to see the way that the game ended, you know, I was glad we won, but I wasn't happy with how we lost our lead and how quick it evaporated. And I believe it was because of the conservative play calling. When you try to really hone in on what Washington does well, special teams comes to mind immediately. The team has gotten real good at trying to play the numbers game in between, you know, the hash marks. And I can tell you that we have probably the best punter in the game. Now, there might be other punters that outkick him, but he's just unbelievable in placement inside the 20s. Or, deep inside the opponent's 20. And setting the ball in that area like he needs to each time really makes a difference for our defense to come in and be able to stop the team. More than likely, I'd say that the defense itself is only going to keep getting better. Right now, we're already a top 10 defense. I believe we're a top 5 defense. But from what everything stands, we need to get a little bit better against the pass, and I think we could be a top 3, top 4 defense. And we got a lot of young players, man. I mean, look at our defensive line. It's just really young. But before I get to the defense, I want to touch on one last thing, and that's, you know, I'm glad to see that the Redskins are being smart with Adrian Peterson. You know, he's obviously meant something to the team this season, and I'm glad that I've heard yesterday something to the lines of he's getting every Wednesday off even though he wants to practice. And that's actually smart. You're pacing your back. We need this guy for the long run. You know, if Washington is to try to make a run at the playoffs, we're going to have to keep this set going. You know, the rest of the NFC East is not looking very good right now. They all have holes, and they're all susceptible somewhat to the run. I mean, you know, we have no business losing to the Giants this week. It was nice to see, once again, Adrian Peterson say today that we've already had our trap game, but you know, he hasn't been in DC long enough to know the history between the Redskins and the Giants. The reason why I'm going to take that game completely serious, no matter if the Giants, you know, don't start any of their starters. You know, that's just a team we have to take serious. But anyhow, defense has just been what I really was looking for the last 4 to 5 years. I mean, ever since we switched to a 3-4, I've been waiting for everything to gel. I felt like we had edge rushers, but then for some reason we just couldn't get the nose tackle to go with it. And they kept, you know, grabbing other pieces that fit well with a nickel and fit well with this and fit well with that and 4-man fronts. And I was, you know, I was kind of happy with it, but I just knew the team couldn't gel the way they needed to until they had all the pieces to do it. And now, since we've added Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne and Matt Ioannidis, and these guys are gelling together, the team is starting to show that these were the right picks. And I couldn't be happier. You know, I would like us to try to add another piece or two if we can. I was talking to Cattle Dog the other day. Deion Buchanan from the Arizona Cardinals would be a really good addition. You know, whether or not that happens obviously remains to be seen because he's a big piece. And I don't think Washington is looking to really give up much, even though we had 10 picks to work with in next year's draft. I like the way our safeties are playing right now. There's been a couple of plays in the last few games that I've questioned the secondary. Most memorable for me, would have been the Saints game. Obviously, the play that Drew Brees set the record on, that was just an embarrassment. It's almost like they laid down and let him just throw it. You know, one guy blamed the other guy, this guy blamed this guy. Who knows what happened there, but there was a miscommunication or something because that play just looked like nobody was covering anybody. But the team really struggled through that time, and then it appears like, you know, Dunbar has played really well this year, and then he went out, I believe it was the Panther game, with a nerve issue in his leg, and that's not good. And he still hasn't returned to practice yet, so you know, we're still down a corner. Now, thankfully, we do have a little bit of depth. I do like Moreau. We have Fabian Moreau. But we start to get thin after that. You know, we have the rookie from Tech. Gosh, what was his name? I'm at a blank thinking about him right now. It'll come to me the second I'm done making the video. And Stroman. I like him, actually. Greg Stroman. I really like the kid, but he's young. And I thought he was only going to return punts this year, maybe play some dime. But since the injury to Dunbar has happened, he's had to play. And Norman has stepped up and played better. Anybody that's saying that Josh Norman hasn't played well this year isn't paying attention. But you know, I feel like we should be getting more sacks with the way that our defensive line plays. You know, we're getting a lot of pressure. I don't know, it just always seems like Ryan Kerrigan is like held the most in the league or something. Every time you see him, he's got like 2 arms wrapped around his neck and he's being like, you know, lassoed. In Preston Smith, it seems like he's always a fingernail away from a sack. Of course, you know, against Dallas, he broke out, had a touchdown and whatnot. It just seems like we're right on the cusp with him. Be interesting to see how that develops more too, because he's on a contract year, as is Crowder, who probably won't play again this week. So one thing is good for me collectively on the team that I've seen is the trenches. The trench work they've put in as far as rebuilding the team is good. It's complete. We are stout on our front 7 on defense. And when everybody's healthy, the offensive line can do a great job. I still say we need another left guard. Laval is just not the answer long term. But, hey, I'll take it for now. When he played last week, the team played a lot better. Looked like the sets were just like everything was gelling better. And I can tell you, Trent Williams is just a monster. I mean, the guy can run downfield. I mean, he's fast. He's like 300 some odd pounds. This guy can run faster than some of the running backs in the league. Just, well, maybe not the running backs, but definitely some of the you know, the skill players. And definitely faster than most the rest of the linemen that are over 300 pounds. Watching the team this year, I will have to say that I've been impressed with the way they play in the first and second quarter. I'd like an improvement in the third and fourth, especially the third. Our team has just been sucking in the third quarter. I can't stand it. And, you know, I feel like as the team starts to gel more, that Alex Smith will start to get, you know, better rapport with the wide receivers. And I feel like maybe once we start getting off the injury bug a little bit, maybe you'll start to see better numbers displayed as far as he's concerned. As far as I'm concerned, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, then I'm fine. You know, we keep running the ball as long as the running game keeps producing. I saw Bibbs was playing. He stepped in for Chris Thompson and Bibbs. I'm impressed. I've been hoping he got some playing time since the offseason. I talked with a few people in the comment section about him over the course of the off season and then the first few weeks of the season or whatever, and we all agreed that we thought he should have been on the roster. You know, so it'll be interesting moving forward, see how they pace the guys along. I expect Chris Thompson to start. He'll probably come back this week. He's not the starter, but I mean I expect him to get the majority of the time over Bibbs now. But they do have, you know, more of a three-headed monster now. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. But anyway, I just look down, been going on like 13 minutes. That's too long. I feel like the team is set in the right spot right now. You know, with the record being at 4-2, and we're playing the Giants, and I believe out of the rest of the teams on our schedule, the Texans are the only one with a record over 500. Now that doesn't mean that I'm looking ahead too far or that I'm looking past anybody. Just looking down the list, they're the only ones with an above 500 record. And, you know, of course, our schedule does include 2 games at Philly, which won on the last game of the season. And, you know, things could change a lot between now and then. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's all I got, man. I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about what's happened so far and where we're heading. And I'll probably have another video up within the next, I don't know, day or so talking about the Giants game. I want to kind of try to make a preview about that one. To me, that's an important game because the Redskins of old lose that game and lose their momentum. You know, the Redskins, will these Redskins change it? I mean, you know, that's the question we need an answer to. But that's all I got. Hell to the Redskins. Peace.